Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today it is the 5th of December 2022. What else was I going to say now? Sorry about the lighting if it's not great. I haven't got any like bedroom light on or natural lighting, so that's probably why the lighting is ass. Obviously, because of recent reviews, Doctor Who action figure reviews on the channel, I've added some stuff to these shelves and changed things around a bit. And I just thought I'd do another Doctor Who collection Doctor Who action figure collection update video of like the ones that are on the shelves, these 3 shelves that I have that I quite like the display of. Personally, I have way more, not to brag about it, but way more Doctor Who action figures elsewhere, and by that I mean in a toy box thing, which is kind of actually more like probably a shoebox, but I fill it with action figures because I'm a sad git. But yeah, without further ado, I will go over the bottom shelf, the first shelf, which, and I won't be going over the top shelf. I think I have done a video on all of these 4 shelves, but the top shelf is just other stuff, so like some Star Wars Black Series stuff, some video gamey stuff, and just a mishmash of all sorts of stuff, you know, predominantly Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series, but then just some random video gamey characters and Rick and Morty and whatnot, stuff that is different to Doctor Who, but is not really probably going to get many views or be very interesting to what is predominantly a Doctor Who YouTube channel, even though occasionally, like the next video I'm going to record, I sometimes do videos about action figures and videos about video games and all sorts of other silly stuff. But yeah, what was I going to do now? Oh, right, yeah, first bit. I was going to say, in my review, I didn't really compare these 2 TARDISes, which you can't really see because of the lighting. And I do say this, I think every time I've shown the shelves, I wish I had some, like, underneath lights to just, like, pop on. That would be really cool. I might actually mention it to my mum later today, if I get the chance and or remember to. But, basically, the point I'm going to try and make is that one's the black and white TARDIS, 60s original sort of Hartnell box. I think that one is probably better if you are a collector, like OG, like someone who actually grew up in the 60s and watched Doctor Who back then, or is a really die-hard fan of that particular era for whatever reason, you know, of Doctor Who. I think that would be the perfect, more collector's item. Whereas the David Bradley one, which I've got here, is kind of more. It's got the TARDIS blue for a start. It's got sort of that piratey sort of papery textured thing to the pull to open sign sort of thing. And I genuinely think it's just a better, more like sort of toyish sort of thing. You know, you've got the lights and sound. You've got a First Doctor, but it's not really the First Doctor, you know, because it's David Bradley. And as I did say in my review, unfortunately my one's got like this little, you can't even see it in the camera, but it's got this little white little speck on his hat, which is a bit annoying. But again, I do mean to get like a Sharpie and go over that. But it is just mad to think, like, at some point I will make an Instagram post if anyone's even interested, but I'll say also here, which is that in my mind it's mad to think like I've now got 4 First Doctor figures, which, you know, is kind of mad because literally like 2, 3, 4 years ago I only had 1, and now I already have like 3 more. So, you know, for the longest time I only had that First Doctor, which is the one from the 11 Doctor set. So at the back you've got the First Doctor TARDIS, the black and white one. You've got the more recent new light and sound effects David Bradley one, with David Bradley poking out there. And yeah, it's got the bells and whistles of the lights and sounds, which is awesome, because that one doesn't have that, which again is why I think it's more collector-y based. But then it's weird because then I'd say the action figure looks better with the David Bradley one, and you're getting sound effects, but then also it's obviously in colour, like, and it's also not really Hartnell, so, you know, that might kind of piss off some people. You've got Ian Chesterton there, you've got Hartnell there, you've got some Sensorites, some Vord, another First Doctor from, I think, the Sensorite set, 10th Planet Cyberman, some Tomb Cybermen, and then you've got also the 60s Abominable Snowmen TARDIS, which is another light and sound one, which was a character options exclusive with the Second Doctor in fur coat. Invasion Cybermen, which are just chef's kiss. I really like them. I love all of the 60s designed Cybermen as action figures, even though I prefer Daleks overall. You've also got the Cybermats, as well as the First Doctor, Second Doctor, and the Third Doctor, because you've got like a little homage to the Three Doctors, because I adore that story. You've got Omega, who, if I'm not mistaken, please feel free to comment this below in the comment section if anyone knows, but is one of the first, if not only, Doctor Who figures to have like soft goods. Wait, that's not true. There's also the Sea Devil over there that has like soft goods. Okay, I tell a lie. There are 2 figures with soft goods, meaning like actual materials that are kind of like clothed materials, if that makes sense. I badly described that, but fucking butchered that explanation. But the only Third Doctor I've got, which is really annoying because I actually, as I've got older, really like John Pertwee's Doctor. He is, for lack of a better term, the 9th Doctor, I suppose, of the classic series. Very sort of blunt and very serious action hero, and I kind of like him for that. And I guess his era, purely on the story basis, is probably one of the more consistent runs of Doctor Who. You've got Sarah from Monster of Peladon, an Axon, which I got loose from a convention once for like £8, I think. The Master, who is holding a Dalek Eye Stalk, because I just thought, why not? I think this one's the Dalek from Planet. It's the one with the dome that flicks open and that. Supreme from Day, I want to say. There's also a Gel Guard there, which again I think is the only one that's like a hollow plastic thing, like completely plastic sort of thing, other than like the Drashig. You've got a Silurian from Warriors of the Deep. I just wanted to add a Silurian, even though it's not the Third Doctor one, in here, because it's the only Silurian we do have. A Sea Devil, and then your unit soldiers right at the back and end of the shelf, the first shelf. So yeah, you've got your 60s into your early 70s, or 70s-ish, sort of first, second, and a bit of third, bottom shelf. But yeah, I'm insanely bewildered as to how I went from one First Doctor for like a bajillion years, what felt like a bajillion years, to then blink, and then now I've got, 4 Hartnells to pick from, to take pictures of, or to do animations with, or do anything with, which is just bonkers. Then you move on, of course, you couldn't have a 4th Doctor shelf, or you couldn't have a shelf without an action figure shelf of Doctor Who figures without it being a Tom Baker shelf, because I'm a Tom Baker obsessive. He is my favourite Doctor, spoiler alert. But yeah, you've got the season 12, the new one, figure. You've got Sarah Jane, and Harry Sullivan is an imbecile, which is just insane that we have the season 12 TARDIS team, the TARDIS from that era, I think, question mark. That has just reminded me, I would like to get a black and white Second Doctor TARDIS, maybe from like the War Games, and maybe a Pertwee Peladon TARDIS box as well, maybe, but as for another day, clearly, to try and add to the collection. You've got the Brigadier, Sontaran Styre, I think. You've got the old school original Davros, I think, from Genesis of the Daleks. And the reason why there's a massive gap there is because I have the Genesis drone Daleks, but not the updated Davros. So I'm waiting for the Davros, or the Creator and Davros, or Creator and drone set to then not get rid of him, but chuck him into the toy box, get the new one, and then have the new Dalek there. You've got Sergeant Benton and Sergeant Yates there, with the Berettas, and berets and whatnot, which is awesome. You've got the Scottish attire Tom, which is, again, awesome. The updated K1 robot, which I do like for the most part, other than the fact that it's a ball ache to stand, and I do think he's leaning on the wall, basically. You've got Tom from Pyramids of Mars, you've got Zygon, fortunately one Zygon, and also one that's quite damaged, unfortunately. Revenge of the Cyberman, Peter Pratt as the Master, and you will obey him. One Mummy from Pyramids of Mars, because I never got any of the other sets, which is very annoying, because I do quite like Pyramids of Mars. It's a very dark story, but it's oddly enough, a bit of a comfort, I guess. But so is Sontaran Experiment, to be honest. Some of Tom's are just comfort watches at this point, I suppose. In terms of Doctor Who watching, I guess. Vok Robots CV7, and I think that's D84. And I did have a third Vok Robot somewhere, but maybe I put that back in the toy box for space. Because there are so many Tom Baker figures for this shelf. You've got Leela, who, if you couldn't see, there is blue tack to the floor because of one of the legs is longer than or shorter than the other. So yeah, she has leg problems, unfortunately. You've got Romana 1, Mary Tam, I think that is. You've got Tom from, I want to say, Shada! And then you've got Tom from, I want to say, season 16 from City of Death. You've got the Shada box as well, which is already getting quite dusty. And you've got the more recent Destiny of the Daleks. I do have the Suicide Bomber Dalek, but I don't have it on the display, because I honestly like these ones more. You've got a rusty K9. K9 over there. You've got Geoffrey Beevers as the Master. You've got his Clock TARDIS there. You've got Romana 2, which is just amazing that we've got a Romana 2, because I adore... oh my god, I'm blanking on her name now. That's embarrassing. Mary Tam... No, not Mary Tam. Not Janet Fielding. Oh my god. You've also got Matt Smith in his purple season 7B costume from Day of the Doctor sort of thing, because you've also got the Gallifrey Falls No More painting and then the Curator, which I think kind of works weirdly with the clock and the painting between all of this menagerie of stuff. Lalla Ward. It was Lalla Ward who played the second Romana. So yeah, you've got, as I say, most question mark in inverted commas, most of the Tom Baker figures that have been released. Well, actually, I say that, but I do have the Gaunt Tom, that's funny, from Keeper of Traken, of course, but he just looks like he's out of his mind, and I don't actually like that much as a figure, so that's in the toy box. And then obviously I have got the Genesis Tom somewhere, but he takes up so much space because of the poofiness of the coat, and I don't have a season 18 Tom, which is a shame, because as a costume I've never really cared for the season 18 Tom Baker look personally, but as an action figure I can't deny that as an action figure it kind of really pops. I think the minimalist purple pops with the sort of maroon darker red, and as I say, as a contrast to the other Tom figures, it actually works really well, and I would love to be able to display it somewhere within here. I'd love a Sutek as well, and a Jaggerfress, or Jaggeroff from the Scaroff, the Jaggeroff, or whatever he's called, from City of Death. That'd be cool. So there are still things that I would like to add to the shelf, but this is what I've got of this current recording. Moving on to the third and final shelf, you've got a little bit of like 80s Who with Ace and the Professor and Syl, because why not? Syl is probably one of the better monsters of the 80s, really. Of the 80s, that isn't a Dalek or a Cyberman, I might add. You've got an Earthshock Cyberman there, which is the only one, unfortunately, that I've got in the collection. You've got Dark Eyes McGann with the satchel this time. Although I think it's the older McGann, I think, but I just stuck the satchel on there. The updated TV movie look for McGann, the War Doctor, which is easily one of the top tier single character option figures they've ever made, in my humble opinion. You've got the Moment, as well as the Dalek Squid on top of it. What else have you got? You've got the TARDIS there, which I got from a charity shop local to us now, which does have the light and sound effect stuff in there, gubbins, but I do actually want to try and one day customise it to be like a War Doctor, John Hurt beaten up, battered Time War TARDIS. You've got Slitheen, the Ninth Doctor, which isn't the updated one that I did a review on, it's still the OG one. You've got an updated David Tennant, which looks way too plasticky for my liking. I don't know why, there is something off about this figure to me. Then you've got my OG original sort of 9th/10th Doctor TARDIS, which, get this, doesn't have the light and sound effects working anymore, whereas the charity shop one does, and we got it for I don't know, like £3 or something ridiculous. You've got Sycorax Warrior, you've got the Time Lord figure, you've got a Weeping Angel in its sort of solemn don't look at me pose. You've got a Cyberman, standard Series 2 Cyberman, which again, another charity shop round here I got for $9.99, which is just chef's kiss. You've got a Jadoon at the back. You've got the newer Jadoon from Series 12, Plukon Dawn, I think it's called, like the female one with the mohawk, which is a sentence I didn't think I'd say this morning. You've got a Vashnarada skeleton dude, which is just phenomenal as a figure. Like, it's mad that we got this as a figure, and it's really basic in terms of like the body, but then when you get to like the head and the helmet and stuff, what? You've got a holographic sort of Weeping Angel. The screaming one is the one that I got in the 3-pack. You've got Scovox Blitzer, one of the few 3.75-inch figures that I've got here displayed, or maybe the only one really. K9, shiny K9, because I still think it's criminal that K9 was not with Jodie. I think she would have worked so well with K9 personally. You've also got a Reconnaissance Dalek with the mutant squid squidding about the place. You've got Ryan, Yaz, the updated Yaz from Eve of the Daleks, and you've got Graham. You've got the 13th Doctor in a non-standard costume, a sort of Twice Upon Time / Power of the Doctor look, I guess. And then you've got the 13th Doctor TARDIS, which is just beautiful as a collector's piece, sort of toy thing, I guess, with lights and sounds. And then you've also got the original OG Jodie in a regular costume, not the one with the bum bag and that anymore. But I am also aware that there's a Power of the Doctor, 13th Doctor, with all the like celery and the question mark jumper and the 10th Doctor tie, which I don't ever feel like anyone says that she's got the 10th Doctor tie, as well as I think Matt Smith's sort of boots and question mark jumper, scarf, obviously, the celery for 5. I'm iffy about whether or not I'd change her for that one. I'd have to get that figure in hand, but I'm a very lucky boy. My mum did pre-order that one for me and is going to probably put that aside for my birthday, because my birthday is in February. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please do comment, rate and subscribe to the channel.